And we are live.
Hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up!
It's like Tyler in the shower. Hurry up! Hurry up!
He's taking a card out. He's a piece of paper. It's that close.
Hello and welcome. We are the Aussie guys. Finally. Oh, man. We won't go into that. Best left
I know why we won't go in it because you screwed it up again.
Yes, I know. I did.
It's
You're absolutely right.
It's not that hard. What time is it? Where our guest is? Okay, now work out. Yep, no problems. You get it wrong every time.
I get it wrong on a regular basis.
You do.
Yeah,
I
I
do.
do.
Something.
I
And
do.
like I keep saying, mate, you're teaching the future of this, not just this country, possibly, other parts of the world, and it's quite scary.
It is quite scary. Well, listen, let's introduce our guest, and then he can rag on me as well. So let's introduce. We're very chuffed to catch up with this man once again, Tyler Gunther from the Dynasty Happy Hour. It's been a while, but very happy.
Far too long.
The freshly vaccinated Tyler Gunther.
Yeah. I actually woke up feeling great though. That's
Nice.
a plus. I mean, yesterday I felt like I got hit by a bus, and then it's like Spider-Man, and I just woke up and I felt like I had all these powers now, and my superpower is being COVID free, and I mean that's always a plus.
Nothing that's helping out the missus then.
No, she's a teacher, and of course, me being a janitor outdoes the teacher somehow. I'm not sure, but
so just mate, because we haven't started it here. I don't think ours starts until mid or late next month.
Yep.
Because we want the stuff that that's actually not going to hurt us. We're just letting all you guinea pigs out there for
yeah. We're just the rats that test it out for you.
So you've had two now, is that correct? I think you were saying second one. So, mate, what was the side effect? Is it like you said you feel a little bit average yesterday? So what is it? Is it just the shot?
Technically, I'm average every day.
Okay.
I mean, let's the first one, it felt like somebody took brass knuckle, hit me in the arm. That was it. I mean,
so it's really just because you're a pussy.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you nailed it. I mean, I think all this. I'm gonna be pretty sure that when the Australians get it, you guys are gonna be like, "What side effects are there?" And all of us Americans are just like, "Oh, it hurts."
Snakes and spiders and kicked by kangaroos and mate, like we wrestle crocs. Mate, we're used to a little bit of pain, and
Do you know what it's like to get hit by a leaf? It hurts really bad.
Yeah, I've fallen on the grass a couple of times. That's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Have you fallen on turf, like NFL football turf? No. I've done that once, and because I used to play soccer indoors, and they used artificial turf.
Right.
That is actually painful. Like, I understand why people wear the turf tape now, because doing that, it's like landing on shards of razors.
Well, I found more. We didn't have like. I used to play some sport, but they used to put the carpet down, like that. Remember the carpet they used to have before they had.
What were sports like in the 1950s?
Ouch!
That's my age, not what I was born. Come on, man. I suppose you're a guess. You can get away with that. But I remember it wasn't more. It was, mate. It used to burn.
Yes.
Your skin.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Like a burn.
Well, they often put like sand mixed in with the turf and stuff.
Yeah.
Like sandpaper.
Or
Yeah, they're
rub-
thinking,
rub-
yes, sandpaper. Oh, this should ease the fall. We'll just lay this down.
Oh, mate, come on back. What was
Just
back
don't
in
slide.
back in the 80s and all that, when they really started getting into all the getting away from the actual turf or grass. But they're pretty much playing on concrete, painted concrete, weren't they, at one stage?
Oh God, ow! No, thank you.
So,
I mean, I get sunburnt easily enough. Could you imagine me playing a sport in the sun and then falling on that stuff?
yeah,
I would not be a good sports player in the 80s.
mate.
Or
stay away from
now.
that big yellow ball, mate. You stay away from that. You'd be like that guy out of the bench warmers. It doesn't come out of his out of the closet.
Yeah,
Brother.
I eat sunscreen. Yep, that's pretty much me. I have to. A bottle a day keeps the
Beautiful.
sun away.
So tell us, man, what's going on at your end? What's going on the Dynasty Happy Hour, and what you all been up to?
Nothing. This past year we got rid of the website. Life is getting busy here, so I had to drop the writers. Thank God that one of my old writers, one of my better ones, Chase, he does a new site called Join Our Circle, and it's pretty much all my old writers, and they just transferred there. And it's pretty much a spitting image of Dynasty Happy Hour now, but they do everything. They do DFS, redraft, Dynasty. Like, he's really, really doing well over there. And that's actually been the easiest part to letting the website go, is knowing they have a good home still and knowing they're all together. So other than that, I mean, we're all still together on the podcast. It's pretty much back to square one. We decided just to go back to our roots and do what we did when we first started, which was just give mediocre to bad Dynasty takes. And
that's all we can wish for here.
Yeah, I mean,
that's our high bar.
I mean, I don't know if you consider that high bar, but I mean, we do what we can, and there's so many people in the community now that it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Somebody's going to get it right.
Oh, sure.
Yep. They've got it right because you hear about it for the next bloody 12 months.
Oh, they'll let you know.
Agree.
Yeah.
Twitter is not the most humble place.
No.
From it. I'm more proud of the ones I get wrong, because I get a hell of a lot more of those wrong. So I'd rather be on the side of percentages, to be honest.
Yeah.
But no, we're pretty humble here. I don't mind telling. I get it wrong a lot. Like I was on with Memphis the other day. We're talking about the quarterbacks. He's doing the quarterback redraft from the 19 season, 20 and 21. And I don't know why he got me on for quarterbacks, mate, because I reckon I've picked one quarterback in the last 6 years. And I picked the who's now going to be, one day will be a Hall of Famer, in Patty Mahomes. But I thought that was a pretty simple guess. But outside of that, mate, I've been terrible with quarterbacks, and I'll put my hand up straight away.
Yeah, but so are most NFL GMs.
But it's the hardest. It's the hardest position for us, Tyler, because it's a position that we have, like, it doesn't correspond with anything that we do over here. Like wide receivers and running backs, we play sports rugby and Aussie rules that coincide, and tight ends that coincide with that part of it. So we understand the basics of it. But quarterback's just a whole different position. We don't have sport that has anything like a quarterback.
No.
See, quarterback, I feel like I'm actually decent at. I had Herbert above Tua and right next to Burrow. They were neck and neck to me, and there was a time when I said I would be okay with taking Herbert at 101 in Superflex. I'd be okay with that. That's fine with me, because I think the guy being the Heisman at his like smarts, being a smart guy at quarterback, that helps in the NFL because it allows you to learn quickly, and that was the issue. People thought, they're like, okay, this guy is going to struggle because he doesn't read the field well. Well, guess what? The guy's a freaking monster. Yeah. He's so good. And like this year, I've gotten a lot of flack for it, but Zach Wilson out of BYU, I'm not a fan of. I don't think his game translates in the NFL because he buckles under pressure. He reminds me a lot of Baker his second year, when Baker wasn't in the right offense and he was trying to push things too much. That's what he reminds me of a lot. And people are trying to tell me like, oh, well, that's not it. He makes accurate throws. Well, you know what? His receivers are like 6'4", 6'3". They're big guys, and a lot of times they have to actually box the corners out. And I was like, I don't think that's going to translate. I mean, the corners are faster. They're a lot stronger. They're a lot smarter. You're not going to be able to do that, and you're doing this in the Mountain West. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that go in the quarterbacks. And then you got a guy like Trey Lance, who I absolutely love, but he's raw, and I do think he needs to sit here. But, I mean, he's got the arm. I mean, if he's got everything you want in arm talent, kind of like the Josh Allen, how Josh Allen needed the right situation and time to progress into what he is, that's Trey Lance. And I think if Trey Lance can stick to it and the coaches stick to it and give him confidence, I think Trey Lance can succeed. And I think the opposite for Zach Wilson.
Well, while we're waiting for you with AJ stuffing up the time, I've been sitting here for an hour. I could have been doing something else. But we were going through a few mock drafts, and I reckon, how many look at about 5, AJ?
Yep.
And I reckon 3 of them had Zach Wilson getting drafted by the Falcons. I've also heard, Trey Lance getting drafted and sitting for a couple of years behind, Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
But I've only just skimmed these guys just when I went on the Dynasty Warzone with Memphis. So I just had a quick, another one that like, even I found Mac Jones. He hasn't got a cannon of arm at all. He can make all the throws. I just found him like just the ball. Hey, granted, look at the receivers he's throwing to, so that they get open easily, but he puts it in really good spots.
Yeah,
like very accurate. Puts it in the right spot at the right time to the right person. But he's not going to drill, missiles through, small windows. That's just he doesn't have that arm.
Oh, him and Kyle Trask out of Florida, they're pretty much the same play. I think Mac Jones has a little more oomph to his throws. He can get up down the ball down the field. Trask is probably more accurate. There's going to be a lot of different quarterbacks. It depends on what team takes them. Say the Patriots take Mac Jones or Trask. That's going to bump up their value because it's a short passing game. They're not really going to push the ball down the field. It's going to work for them. They just need weapons other than you and me. And that is, I mean, you and me are probably the best receivers on the Patriots, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Small hands, but good grip. Good grip.
But you probably have the biggest hands on the team. That's the thing. Like I mean, their receivers are bad.
I don't know if you. This might have been the first thing you wanted to talk about, G. I'm not sure. But like this year, quarterback, and I'm not talking about the rookie draft. I'm talking about just the quarterback position at teams. There are so many. I mean, okay, so let's say in a Superflex league, Dynasty league, you've got a couple of quarterbacks. You could end up after this free agency period with none, or if you had 2 quarterbacks that were guaranteed to be in the same spot, you'd probably count yourself lucky. It looks really unsettled. Right across the board.
I mean, I said probably in December, I'm like, get ready. This offseason is going to have quarterback movement like you couldn't believe. I mean, we heard Matt Ryan moving in December, November, even before the NFL trade deadline. We heard Matt Ryan could be on the move. And then Matt Stafford, I think we all knew the writing on the wall even before it happened. We kind of knew what was going on. Guys like Aaron Rodgers up in the air. I mean, the guy I talked about, Chase from Join Our Circle, he had a big hot take in like September saying Aaron Rodgers after this year is going to Denver after the season. I mean, even if they do well, he's going to go to Denver. I'd love that. I mean, Denver's weapons get a huge boost. In the Dynasty game, this is where you start doing the whole stock. Like stocks are a big thing right now. If you haven't seen the news, stocks are the only thing you see on Twitter.
I don't know to get on that.
Like Dogecoin. Like, what is going on? I mean, are we all bored?
What's Dogecoin? Is that like Bitcoin?
I guess I have no idea.
No.
Like
just saw
I
the
just sit
one
there and I
about
nod. I just nod.
the game joint. What was the game one?
GameStop, yeah, and I'm a member of GameStop, and what happened is, like I play video games. I love playing my Xbox, and the thing is GameStop got new management. They're making what they struggled at better, and I thought that was it, but that wasn't it. Apparently, Reddit started saying things about how the stock is going to go up. I'm sitting there thinking, like, oh, they're getting better at what they're doing. No, I'm wrong. Don't listen to me. I'm not a trader at heart, but yeah, it's insane. And the movement that's going to happen this offseason is going to be fun to watch. And it's going to be interesting because, if the COVID stuff keeps happening, how are they going to go into the building and test? How are they going to do their physical stuff? They're going to have to wait. So the process could take longer, but I think the moves are going to happen quick and they're going to happen fast. So if you in Dynasty say you do have your quarterback position is struggling, well, there's going to be probably 5 quarterbacks you can draft in the rookie draft that could range from 101 to 210 or so. And then you're going to have your chance at the Staffords, who's a buy low, the Matt Ryans, who everybody's just pretty much done with. He could go to San Francisco, and look how much that would boost his value. Kirk Cousins is left for dead, even though he had a pretty good season. There's a lot of quarterbacks you can go out and Superflex and kind of go out and get, like Jameis Winston. I don't know if people think that he's going to start, but he could. You could get him for pretty cheap, and it could be worth the investment. So, yeah, just the offseason. I'm ready for it, and that's the best part about Dynasty is even though redraft is done, people are playing DFS. Well, that's boring. Give me trades in Dynasty. Let me be able to move with my team. Let me play this Madden franchise, but it's actually my fantasy team all year round, and I love it.
Yeah, so let's just have a look. I just wrote down some of the teams that we'll be looking like. Okay, obviously the Patriots are not going to make. Cam Newton was there on the 1 year deal, mate. You need a quarterback that can throw more than 5 touchdowns in the season. Usually, probably helps your offense a little. Not that you're throwing to, but Brady. There's a lot of years of Brady. Oh look. He probably had more to throw to, but not much. But he still threw more than 5 touchdowns. The Colts will obviously Rivers is finished up. The Texans will obviously he wants out, and that's it. The Saints, Breeze retired. The Bears, Mitch Trubisky, what's happening there? People spoke about Deshaun Watson maybe going to the Bears. We know
they had their chance. The Bears had their chance. They don't get him.
They don't get him.
No, they're not allowed.
Not allowed. Jacksonville, well, we all know what Jacksonville's doing. They'll take Trevor Lawrence. Now, the Jets with Sam Darnold. We got the 49ers, you said. Maybe Matt Ryan with Jimmy Garoppolo. We got the Rams, with Jared Goff and that situation that's going there. And isn't it amazing that with Jared Goff, failure and fame was one throw? Which happens, this is how people become great is because of one thing that happens. But his failure was one throw in the Super Bowl that he couldn't make. Was it one throw and then we had 2 chances at it, didn't he? They ran the same play twice.
Yeah.
So then you've got Washington, what they do. They've got Alex Smith, so there's the bridge if they want to get somebody in. You got the Steelers. We got, Big Ben saying, "Wolf, mate, I don't mind taking a pay cut if I can keep going to help out the salary cap." As you said, the Broncos, Drew Lock is easier lock. Maybe the Raiders. I don't know. I think the Raiders will just sit still, but we all know Chucky's never happy with his quarterback situation. The Lions with Stafford parting ways, and even the Panthers. Are they going to keep rolling with Teddy Bridgewater? Are they going to go and draft someone as well? Something that's just. I heard that some people are saying like the under and over on quarterback change this year is like 18, and people are going to say, well, I'll take the over.
Yeah, Adam Scheffler said that. He said he heard there's as up to 18 teams that could be looking for a quarterback change, and he said he would take the over on that many moves, which is insane. I mean, 18 moves at quarterback would change the whole landscape of a Superflex team. I mean, I have a league that's changing the Superflex next year, and I'm sitting here like okay, I need to grab like 8 quarterbacks so I can have 2 starters.
Dude, the weird, mate, I've spoken about this a lot on this podcast, but I have our first ever Dynasty startup team that we have. I have 4 starting quarterbacks, and they'll be starters next year. I have Cousins, who's my 4th. I have
Lamar.
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Kyler Murray. Mate, do you think I can trade any of them?
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that they
easily.
can go, but I can't.
No, you can't.
I've put trades out for running backs. Like I put a trade out to get Zeke Elliott for Kyler Murray, and he wouldn't do it.
Oh wow!
In super,
I mean, I would jump for joy. I would jump for joy.
I asked him like 3 times. So come on, dude. I'm a big. I like Zeke. So there's a little bit of love for Zeke. You know, I'm glad I didn't do it, and it didn't happen. This is before the season started, and he actually said to me, "Mate, would you stop asking me?" So I said, "Fuck it, that's it. I won't be trading." I said, "AJ, I'm not trading with him at all for anything. That's it. Out."
I mean that's the fun thing about Dynasty too is you have to make good connections with people. I have about 4 people in my home Dynasty league that are friends of mine that I know if I want their player, I can talk with them and we could work it out. And if I want a player on their team, they're not going to say no. They're going to be open-minded. They're going to say, okay, I'm willing to listen. I don't like Jerry Jeudy. I tried to get all season from a friend of mine. He would not budge. I'm like, come on, man, give me Jeudy. I'll even give you a first. Well, he said no. Last week, I came up to him and I approached him and I said, hey, I'm coming to you asking for Jerry Jeudy. And he goes, okay, I'll listen. And let's talk. And he's like, I maybe I'll do it. And getting closer to the rookie draft, I had some rookie picks in there. And finally, we got a deal done. And I actually got him cheaper than what I would have when I offered him the trade, just because of the season Jeudy had. And I mean, you guys asked me for some buys. There's a screaming buy right there. Is Jerry Jeudy, especially the fact that they could have Stafford, they could have a new quarterback at the realm, they could have a Matt Ryan who used Kelvin Ridley, who's almost a very similar player to Jeudy. So,
but better.
That is a good buy. I was going
to ask you about that. I was going to ask about that. We went through these quarterbacks, and I brought up the teams and the quarterbacks for a reason, because everybody's talking about the quarterbacks, but mate, there is a ton of receivers that are going to go one way or the other, depending on what happens with this whole quarterback market. And there's not a lot of, I haven't heard a lot of people talking about those guys at the moment, because everybody's so transfixed on what's happening with the quarterback market.
A lot of players are going to get boosts. I mean, Atlanta, say they do get rid of Matt Ryan, I think they're going to go down. So like a Ridley will drop down. Julio won't probably be Julio. I think he's kind of on the downswing of his career. But Julio's going to Julio. Julio, if he can stay healthy, he's going to get 1,000 yards. No problem. Maybe only 2 to 4 touchdowns, but he's going to get 1,000 yards. So
do you think there's a chance of the Matt Ryan? I just think he's owed a bit of money. I don't know if anybody's going to take that contract on. I think you at least got this year with him. If not, maybe one more, depending on if they grab a quarterback at the 4th pick and how he develops.
Yeah, because Justin Fields seems to be dropping. That's my actually dream scenario. I'd love Justin Fields to go to Atlanta, go back to home to Georgia. I would love seeing that. Let him sit, because Fields has his warts. Fields has the read issue. He sees the first read, and if it's not open, he's going to take off. Fields, we saw versus Clemson, he would progress through his reads. He showed growth. And when he did, look what he did. He destroyed Clemson, and he absolutely obliterated them, and he showed he's an elite talent. And if he can learn that more, I think if he lands in Atlanta, sits behind Ryan, even 8 games this year, say Ryan doesn't play well and Fields comes in week 6 or so, that's fine with me. But I agree. I would love Matt Ryan as a bridge quarterback. And then Matt Ryan can move on and be the Phillip Rivers and kind of help another team try to push for the title and then retire. I mean, I love Matt Ryan. I followed him his whole career. I mean, it was right after the Michael Vick stuff, and that was the dark ages as an Atlanta fan. So, yeah, it's interesting. There's going to be a lot of situations like Alex Smith. Just go. Like I respect what you did. Just don't ruin your leg. I mean, the guy's literally got one leg and then maybe 20% of another. So,
Yep.
oh, like I'd love to see him retire.
His back and whatever on his leg, and like every time he got tackled, it's like, okay, he's okay. He's like, there's a bit of that about it, isn't there?
Yeah, and his leg just started bleeding out of nowhere. And it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, yeah, there's bigger things than this. And he showed us that you can come back from anything, and that's awesome. I loved it. I love seeing it. I respect it. Like even Teddy Bridgewater, guy like pretty much had no kneecap, and he came back from that. And I mean, there's a time when you just got to know. You just got to realize to move on.
Yeah. So okay. So talking about the values of wide receivers, Breeze leaves the Saints. Michael Thomas.
I've been off Michael Thomas for 2 years. See, we have a philosophy at Dynasty Happy Hour. Once a player reaches 101 of their position, look to get out because the value is not going up. It's impossible to go up. Like Devontae Adams, I've been trading off my teams. Michael Thomas I never owned because I have
a problem with that. I got an issue with that because a lot of people say, he gets to this point and then we trade him but then you're going to trade for someone that you hope rises to the level of the guy he just got to. So he has to get to that level, I believe, to get back what you've just traded away. But why?
Well, I mean, you're getting
away someone who's giving you value for the next 5 years for someone that
because you're getting more, and you're getting more assets. As in, say you take Michael Thomas last season, probably the highest player, and say you went for Kelvin Ridley, which was a buy for me last season. It was a buy for everybody last season. If you went Kelvin Ridley, you're getting a first round back. In last year's draft, the first round was insane. I mean,
you have to get it right. You have to, when you do that trade, you need that guy that you traded for to become the player that you think that he can become, which is all part of it, because that's the fun part of doing it.
Oh, sure.
That's what you enjoy. I like doing drafts, and especially startups. And I'll take young guys because I'd like to back that maybe what I've seen on film, and when I sit down and watch it for a couple of months, that this guy in a couple of years is going to be, and my team won't be good at the start, but it'll in maybe 2 years' time. And if it's not, well, I've just wasted a couple of $100.
And that's what trading. You win some, you lose some, but if you can hit 60% of the time, your team is going to get better with these trades. Like there was a trade I made when I started Dynasty, and I absolutely regret it. I traded the 101, which was Zeke, his rookie year. I traded 101 for Josh Gordon, 110, 112, and it was like another running back that just flamed out. Well, Josh Gordon, we all know what happened there. It was after his big season, or after he was coming back off his first suspension, I think. So I took the chance, and it didn't work out. 110, I drafted Will Fuller. I mean, that was off and on. But it's a risky game. And then you got trades that I made last year. I traded Juju for Justin Jefferson and Henry Ruggs. Well, that trade really worked out because I was a Justin Jefferson believer. I believed in the talent. I believed in him transitioning. And that's worked out. Delvin Cook, when everybody was worried about the injuries and the off-the-field issues, drafting him where he went. He was at 106 at some points of the rookie drafts when he was drafted. It's the risk. If you take a risk and you hit, it's going to hit huge for you. Justin Herbert in Superflex leagues would drop to 108 at point. Well, I got him at 110 in a league. And in this league that's changed into Superflex, I got him at 301 because nobody wanted to touch him.
Wow.
Well, now I got a player.
AJ didn't want him too, and he's a Chargers fan. Man, he was pissed. He wanted Tua.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
No. Let's go to Tua too. And you hear guys like Adam Scheffler and even Mel Kiper Jr. and Todd McShay saying, "Why I don't get why people are very upset with Tua because they knew and the organizations knew Tua wasn't going to be Tua until the following season. It's like an ACL.
Yeah.
It's like an ACL. You're going to have to get that transition period, the processing right. You're going to have to trust in the hip again, get strength in the hip. And what we saw at Tua was probably 70-80% Tua. But he couldn't make those throws he made at Alabama. Well, we're a year past, and all these Deshaun Watson trades, which I think are ridiculous. If you're the Dolphins, you're not giving up 3 and 18 after taking a quarterback everybody said was the next thing at 5, and you got him at 5 when you thought you'd have to move up to 1. Like the thing is Tua's going to be good. We saw flashes of it, and the offensive coordinator, yes, was at fault. Was some fault? Tua, yes. I think he was pushing the ball too much when he knew he couldn't, and he was trying too hard because he had that feeling that he needed to prove. Well, if he has a team like the Dolphins, or even if he does move on, if he has a team that's backing him and saying, you're our guy, don't worry about it. We're going to give you 3 years. We're going to, like the Sam Darnold treatment. Like, I still believe in Darnold, but Adam Gase just poo-pooed him. And with Tua, it's the same thing. You need trust. You need that X factor. Tua's already got this X factor style where the team rallies behind him, and the team will go behind him and say, okay, you're our dude. And Tua just needs weapons as well. Like at 3, why are you going to take a quarterback when you could take a guy like Jamar Chase, or you could take a guy like Devonta Smith, get him back together, or Jalen Waddle? There's things they can do to help him. Tua screams by to me, and I think the window's closing already because people are starting to realize, like, okay, maybe we need to pump the brakes on this guy and give him a chance because he's actually good.
Yeah. So who else would you be looking at with the carousel, the quarterback position? Would you be looking at to possibly acquire or get rid of at the wide receiver? Because with running backs are more that, it's not as prominent who the quarterback is to still be a good running back, but yeah, wide receivers that's the
absolutely
sugar daddy, really.
Wide receiver, I'm actually looking to kind of get rid of Kenny Golladay. He's getting older. He's going to be 28. He's going to probably have a new quarterback because I doubt Detroit re-signs him, which would lead me to them drafting a receiver at pick 7, even though I think it's a mistake. But Kenny Golladay is okay. And we all saw Marvin Jones doing the same thing Kenny Golladay did at the end of the year. But there's going to be a new quarterback. There's new management. And Kenny Golladay needs somebody who can throw the ball downfield. And unless they can draft somebody like that at 7, I just feel like he's going to struggle. And he's still got that name cachet where you can get a first round plus probably a little for Kenny Golladay. So I'm kind of steering clear out of Kenny Golladay. Like I said with Davante Adams, I'm selling. Despite him having 18 touchdowns, I'm going to sell. Rodgers' future there looks bleak, and it looks like it's coming to an end. I like Jordan Love, but Jordan Love is going to be a guy, kind of like a Tannehill. And if Davante Adams doesn't get the targets he got from Rodgers, I think he's going to struggle. And he's going to be 29. I mean, we saw Hopkins just fall from grace in the Dynasty community, and he was close to the top. And now he's a 3rd-round startup. And you got Davante Adams, who is a 1st-round startup, but you can get a lot for him in a very deep wide receiver class. I mean, if you can come out with the Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle for Davante Adams, I'm all for that because I think those players are great.
I reckon what I'm struggling at the moment. I've got Waddle and I'm doing my wide receivers at the moment. And at the moment I can't split Waddle, and I know everybody's on Smith, Devontae Smith. But mate, Waddle, I'm really liking what Waddle has.
Yeah, and if he lands with the right coaching staff, watch out. Waddle could be the best receiver in this class, and it's not even close. Everybody's worried about the ankle, and I think he'll be fine. I mean, we all saw him play in the national championship game, which is insane. I mean, we get it, dude. You're tough. We completely get it.
Mm.
But he is a special talent, and he's a guy that it doesn't matter where you put him. He can run the right routes. He can do the screens and take off. He's going to help in return game. He's going to be an interesting one. And if he lands with the Lions at 7, that might drop him a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
who you buying then? Like this is where you're going to have to take some risks, not knowing what quarterbacks are going to be on what teams. And maybe that's a talking point when you're trading with someone, saying, this is how you're leading. Look, mate, he's probably not going to have that quarterback there. His value is going to drop. It could get worse. I'm willing to give you this now, which is still maybe a bit discounted, but
how about I give you a buy for each team, and
Okay.
you name off the teams, and I'll just do a quick rapid fire.
Nice.
Oh, well, we won't worry about the Patriots. That's one I mentioned because they haven't got anybody that you want to go and grab, really.
Well, so Sony Michel could be an interesting buy. I know he played well at the end of the year. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's a Patriots fan. I said, he looks more explosive. He looks like he did at Georgia. And my buddy even said, he goes, maybe he's losing the weight that he put on that Bill wanted him to, because Bill wanted to make him a power back, when realistically at Georgia, he was an elusive back. He was the lightning to Chubb's thunder.
Yep.
And now he's the thunder. No. Sony Michel was supposed to be an elusive, explosive back, and the Patriots screwed up by trying to make him something he's not. So I would actually go and buy Sony. He could be on a different team this year.
Okay, so I reckon we give the Texans a bit of, because they haven't got anything pretty much. Like Will Fuller was always like, oh geez, for me it was always, oh man, I don't really trust the guy. He's always hurt. He had a good season, except he still ended up missing games. And now with Deshaun Watson leaving, they've got nothing that I'd want to buy.
But the thing is, Will Fuller's a free agent, so Will Fuller could actually move. Okay. And if Will Fuller goes to Green Bay, I mean, imagine that. If Rodgers stays and Will Fuller goes to Green Bay, I'm all about that.
If Rodgers leaves, like you've been talking about.
If Rodgers leaves, I don't know. Yeah. But we don't know what Jordan Love is. So
no. So we spoke about Michael Thomas already at the Saints. How's that going to affect Alvin Kamara?
I think he's fine, but people are scared of him. People are starting to get worried. I bought low in a league, and I bought real low to the point where the guy was so worried about Breeze leaving that I got him for like 2 firsts, and I was fine with that. And if people are going to panic, buy. But Adam Troutman, to me, Jared Cook can't come back. There's no way. They're 113 million over the cap.
Yep.
So there's no possible way the Saints can really go in the free agency and be like, oh, we want this guy. No, they gotta have to go within. Adam Troutman is going to be the starter, and he's a very athletic guy that they got in the 3rd round, and he can get had for what, a 3rd. So he's a very good buy low tight end.
Okay, I like that.
Nice.
I have a few shares, so that's why I like it. I might just flog him off for a little bit more. I might say, look, his value's going up. Okay, now Jacksonville getting Trevor Lawrence. Mate, we already know they have a good receiving core. Chenault, I'm trying to think of Chark. If he can stay on the field this year, would be fantastic. So they've got a running game now, and James Robinson. They're not going to do anything there. They're not going to go and get a running back in the draft. So their value with Lawrence going there, because we all know that's where they're not going to trade out of that position.
For me, I'm buying the 101. If I'm buying any spot from there, I'm going to go get the pick to get Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm going to go get the pick is because once that player is associated with that team in your league, it's almost untouchable. It's like, if you want a player, you got to go get the draft pick because it's going to be cheaper. Say you have 103 and you want Trevor Lawrence in a super flex league. It's going to be way easier to go get him from there than it will once he's drafted and he's playing in the league. And then once he starts playing, I mean, it's multiple first. But if you move from 103, you're going to have to give a second, maybe a late first, an early second. That's nothing compared to what you're going to have to give once Trevor is on that said team. So I'm gonna go get the 101 instead of Trevor Lawrence after he's drafted. But I'm all about getting Trevor Lawrence. I think he's special. With the weapons that team has, surprisingly, people are overlooking that team, and they have tons of money. They could go out and get a receiver like a Curtis Samuel, but I hope that doesn't happen because I want Shenault to pan out. That's one player I was wrong on. I thought Shenault wasn't going to be much. I thought he's a gadget player. Well, he's more than a gadget player. That guy can actually play receiver very well, and he had a pretty good rookie season. I won't say with Justin Jefferson having the year he had, that's hard to kind of look at another rookie and say, oh, they had a good season. But yeah, Shenault had a pretty good year with what they had at quarterback. So Shenault is also another buy.
Okay, now my boy Michael Pittman at the Colts. Well, we don't know who's going there, but to me, it's going to be an upgrade. I'm not a massive fan of Phillip Rivers the last couple of years, just because I thought that arm was gone. Even though, look, he had a good season, but as I said when I was on the pod the other day with the guys, is that to me the Colts, they sort of went a year of mediocrity to me, because that is going to win enough games to put you out of a spot to pick a quarterback maybe of the future,
an impact player,
and they were never going to make it and win the Super Bowl with Phillip Rivers. So it was like a nothing year. But Michael Pittman, no one knows who the quarterback's going to be. What do you think? Go and grab him now.
I like Pittman a lot. And the time to buy was last year before he had his big playoff game. It was during the season, probably midway through week 6. That was the time to buy. But yeah, he's still a good buy. I would like to go out and buy Jacob Eason, because despite the rumors them going out to find a quarterback, there has been nothing but positive news from the Jacob Eason camp. He has shown progression. He had the arm talent. I mean, in school, he's a 5-star recruit. Guy had a cannon of an arm. And it was like the Josh Allen aspect. He had all the arm talent in the world, but man, couldn't hit a deep throw to save his life. And his progressions he struggled with at Washington and at Georgia. He had a hard time progressing to the next read. If Frank Reich could work on that with him, that would be great, because Jacob Eason has all the talent in the world. They got him in the 4th round, which was an insane value pick. Yeah, Jacob Eason, who has forgotten, and it's a shot in the dark. Say you get him for 4th in a Superflex league, and he starts not this year, but the following year. You hit hard on a guy that the value went from a 4th round to a starter value, and he's a young starter, so he could be had at a 1st round pick, and there's your gang, there's your 1st round gang, and you're already helping your team.
Okay, here's one for you. DK Metcalf, like with the Seahawks, with everybody, this was the year to unleash, Russell, and let the more of the air raid sort of system come in with the receivers that they had. But we've now had Dennis Carroll come out and say that
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll. I don't know where I got Dennis from.
Dennis.
Got
That's
Pete
his brother.
That's his brother. And the twins too.
Yeah.
All
chewing gum.
Dead ringers. But he's come out and said, look, the mistake that we made this year was we didn't run the ball enough.
What?
So, we have to get back to that. And let's face it, that's the style, the way that the Seahawks have won under him is defense and run the football. And it didn't work this year with letting Russ sort of take a little bit more of a chance with his arm. So the value of DK Metcalf in a team that the coach has already said the mistake that we made is we threw too much and we didn't run enough.
I think the thing that people misinterpret from that is Russell Wilson does a great job at play action. And when you're not running the ball well, the play action doesn't work well. And when the play action isn't working well, DK Metcalf, I mean, despite 3 people being on him, he's still open, but he can't do his thing to the full ability. And I think that's what Pete meant, is we need to run the ball to open up the play action pass, which is what they're all about. I mean, Russ's best thing is his deep ball. He has probably one of the best and most accurate deep ball in the league.
His efficiency, isn't it? Like they don't have to throw it a lot.
Yeah,
for you to get numbers out of the wide receivers in Seattle.
Right.
Agreed. And I think a lot of it also has to do with Lockett. Maybe he's getting long in the tooth. He's 30 years old, and he's got the transitional receiver ability where
he was a G find. I found him. He was my boy.
You should go on Twitter and tell everybody.
I'm a bit late now. No one will believe me.
No, I think they need another weapon there. If it's not a tight end, it needs to be a receiver. Yeah. And they need a running back. Chris Carson is hurt all the time. Carlos Hyde isn't the answer. It would not shock me. I'm not sure what their cap position at, but I don't think it's too bad. I mean, I know they just traded for Jamal Adams. They don't have a first. But yeah, they need a running back. They need a receiver. They need offensive weapons to help Russell. And their offensive line isn't great. It's not good, but it could use an upgrade. I mean, Dwayne Brown is getting old too. Oh, that team. I do like the team, but I do fear that it's going to hit another bump in the road that we saw 2 years ago. And when we're like, oh God, is this kind of the end of prime Russ? And it wasn't, because he had a great year this year and then fell off like usual, like Russ does. Usually it's the opposite. Usually he starts off terrible and then ends on fire. But yeah, Russ, I think, is a great quarterback. I think he'll be fine. People are worried, so go out and buy him. But DK Metcalf is insane. And if people are going to doubt him, go buy him, because he is a top 5 receiver in the NFL. And that is what it is. And he can run routes, everybody. Hey, look, the guy can run routes despite his terrible 3-cone. You don't need to have a crazy good 3-cone to run premium routes, which is what DK Metcalf does. He's just dominant. And if we're looking for the next Julio style player, DK's got to be it, because he's 6'3", 225, built from gods himself. And
do we have a few more touchdowns though out of him? Then
I mean, that's in time.
10.
They use DK in slants more like they use with Julio, where they're like, okay, take the ball and run with it. They've been using DK too much on 9 routes and just letting him go up and get it. Give the man the ball in space, because people can't tackle trees.
So what would I've tried on my bike. I've hit plenty of them with my bike. You never win. Trust me. So just say someone has DK Metcalf and you want to go out and grab him. What's the cost you're looking at?
That's a good question.
If I have,
just say I had a quarterback and the guy that has DK Metcalf in a league.
Yeah, I'm actually going quarterback. I'd want the quarterback in any Superflex formats. I want a quarterback. But if you have the room, like you have the luxury, yeah, I would go out and trade a quarterback for DK Metcalf plus.
Straight up or plus?
I would need plus from DK, because quarterbacks are king no matter what. I don't care what people say.
Listen to this, AJ.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Yeah. Quarterbacks are king.
Loving your work, mate. Loving your work.
It reminds me of my friend, because we're switching the Superflex, and he goes, I'm not worried about it. I can start a receiver or a running back at that spot. And I go, okay, but your ceiling is my quarterback's floor. Like, do you get that? Like, a quarterback's floor is 18 points. Like, if they have
about scoring points, it doesn't matter where they come from. I keep telling people, it doesn't matter where the points come from. It's points that win it for you.
Yes.
And that's what you're saying.
Yes. Quarterback ceiling. A quarterback has a better chance of having 5 touchdowns than a wide receiver or running back. And I tried explaining this to my good friend, and I'm like, hey, like a quarterback, I feel comfortable getting me 18 points. Say I put in at this flex spot my wide receiver 4. You're happy you're getting for like 10 points. Like, if you're getting 10 points from a wide receiver, you're not upset, you're not happy, but you're just there. A quarterback, a bad week is like 15, 18 points. And you're like, oh, I could have done more. Well, you know what? A good week from a quarterback, your quarterback 2 is like 40 points. So the difference there is the point value. And like you said, points win you fantasy leagues and points win you weeks. And that's what we're here for.
The hardest thing I find in leagues is that, especially at this time of the season when people have draft picks in their pocket, and it's not a good time to go and trade draft picks. I reckon it's better when the clock's going is when people pay more.
Oh, hell yeah.
But the fact that everybody thinks that the guy they're going to pick is going to be the next superstar. I don't need to do a trade because I reckon I can pick this guy and he's going to be good. And sometimes I'm a bit more the, when we did the pod the other week with the Memphis and that, I didn't take Trevor Lawrence when I had the choice. I went and took Justin Herbert because I wanted.
Oh yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going Herbert over Lawrence, and Herbert is actually at quarterback 3 for me. He's over Kyler, and he's over those guys. And it's just because we've seen it. We've seen it a rookie year. It's historical. The year he had is historical. And that's another issue with these rookie picks is they started what you were talking about fell off a little bit. People were like, oh, I don't know if I can hit on rookie picks. Well, you know what hurt? The year before that. And this year, like 2020, the running backs all hit. All the first round running backs hit. Akers finally came up, started getting his carries, and showed that he could be an RB1. Dobbins did the same thing. Swift showed the same thing. Jonathan Taylor did the same thing. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is now the question. And that
next year.
Next year, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, is awesome. But people have doubts on him.
No, look what I talk with this as Memphis. Look what Andy Reid does with second-year running backs on his roster. They explode.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable just how people forget how good Edwards-Helaire is. The first game he had, I get it was against Houston, but it was his first year without any rookie training camp, and he comes in and explodes. And I get the pass catching isn't there. That's coming because he needs to work on his pass protection. He's going to get that this year finally. Let's not jump the ship on Clyde Edwards-Helaire yet. He is a great talent. Everybody in the NFL was upset the Chiefs took him. People forget that too. In the draft, there was teams trying to trade up with the Chiefs to get Edwards-Helaire because they wanted this guy as the first running back in the league, and they all liked what they saw. So we need to kind of reevaluate our thoughts on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And then you look at the wide receivers.
Patty Mahomes isn't really a check down sort of quarterback either, is he? Goes, mate, if you look at games this year, and Edwards-Helaire he's got 10 yards in front of him, and Mahomes looks at him and goes, mate, I can find someone in another half a second that's 25 yards down, and I'll give that a crack.
And I think Andy Reid will kind of put that in Mahomes' head, like, hey, I get you want to throw it downfield, but let's save Travis Kelce. Let's give him a couple more years in the league than rather throwing it to him in the middle of the field and letting him get hit 10 times a game.
He takes a pounding, doesn't he?
Does.
Yes. And he's very good, but he does take huge hits.
Yeah.
And guys like Tyreek Hill, like he's good, and he's a guy that can't get hit as much. Let's give it to this running back that we have 4 years. We have 4 years under contract. Let's give this guy the ball more. Let's dump it off to him. And he's going to get us 10, 15 yards. And hey, he could possibly break it off for 60. Let's do that more. And maybe Andy says, okay, we'll give you a couple more passing attempts a game if you do this. Like, we'll give you those extra shots to get the ball to Kelce. And it's just insane to me that they took a first-round running back. And I think a lot of it adds up to the no rookie training camp, the offseason that happened, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire needing that learning process for just the pass protection. It wasn't great. And when you sign a quarterback to half $500 million, I mean, you're going to want to protect him.
Yeah, and look, Andy Reid is never like he doesn't work the hell out of his first year rookie running backs anyway. He hasn't done that in the past.
Yeah, I agree. And okay, what were we on again? Oh, the rookies. Okay, the rookie picks. Yeah, the rookie picks are now worth more is because we have CeeDee Lamb, who everybody has heralded as a top 10 dynasty wide receiver, with Dak coming back, possibly. Justin Jefferson had a historical rookie year.
Dude, don't say possibly, please. Don't no.
It's ridiculous if they don't.
Years by having Dak Prescott, dude, don't be saying possibly.
If they don't bring Dak back, that is the worst organization ever. I mean, next to what Washington did with Kirk Cousins and what that process they did with him, this is it. Like, except
shout out to Kyle at FF SmackDown, big Cowboys fan. Just
and if they do this, but the thing is, Washington did it with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. Dak is a superstar. Like, they're doing this with a superstar quarterback, and it's just, come on, give the man the money. You had him at 30 mil. You had him at 35 mil. You know what you're going to have to pay him now? 40, Jerry. You're going to have to pay him $40 million. You're going to have to pay him Deshaun Watson money.
It's madness, especially when you consider what's happening at the quarterback position, all over the league. It's madness.
And soon you're going to have, like, if Rodgers does stay in Green Bay, he's looking for a new contract. So that's going to be the next, I don't know. It's not going to be Patty Mahomes money, but it's going to jump ahead of a lot of the other guys because I think he's like maybe 5 or 6 on the list at the moment. Look at the talent that he is. And he's still got years, he's showed this year, he's still got years left in him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And the issue with that is Green Bay doesn't have much of that money. Like, because of Rodgers, and Rodgers signed a deal, a year or two ago? And with me, it's like, okay, you signed a contract. Just live that contract out. Like, I get you're not making the most money. Give me a break. Like, finish your contract. Just do that. Like, help your team out a little bit. But and then you got like we said with the Saints, they did the whole
500.
Like what the Patriots did with Tom Brady. They paid Tom Brady money, $13 million this year, for him not to play on the team, for him to go out and be in the Super Bowl with the Bucs, because they kept backloading this contract. And that's what they did with Breeze as well, to allow them to sign these big name players. And now they're paying for it. And that's where everybody's like, oh, well, the cap's a myth. Well, it's not, because it's going to kill them at the end of this player's contract. And it's just, with the cap lowering this year, you're going to see a lot of deals not happening because the cap is going to be lowering. Yeah. But yeah, like going back to the rookie draft, you've got like guys like Justin Jefferson hitting in the late first. Jalen Reagor is like the only player that didn't hit this year, and yet he's still a massive buy because he's a good player.
Okay. All right.
The hit rate of the rookies this year.
Yeah, it wasn't a massive rap for Jalen Reagor, but
are you buying him? Do you feel he's a massive buy?
Who?
Reagor.
Oh yeah. I mean, the new coaching staff already came out and said we need to get this guy the ball, and he worked with the Colts, and he even said the Colts had their eye on him because they took Pittman at 302. They took Pittman at 302, and they had their eye on Reagor, thinking maybe he could drop. They wanted Reagor, and he didn't, so they went with Pittman. But the fact that he pointed out Reagor specifically in this wide receiver group, saying this guy's special, we need to get him the ball, that's great. I like Rager's talent.
Who's throwing the ball?
Carson Wentz? It. I think it's Wentz. Yeah. I think they hired him for Wentz. So everybody who traded for Jalen Hurts for a first round pick, I'm sorry, you bought too soon.
Yeah,
because Hurts is not the quarterback. And if they do this,
I've got 4 quarterbacks in my league. Come and see me. I'm happy to sell one of them.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, you see, like Jalen Hurts, that you hear them talk about, like, oh, we got 2 really good quarterbacks. Well, no, you don't. If you think you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. You need one quarterback that you play, especially with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is not the guy who wants to get taken out. He's a rhythm guy. He needs to get in this rhythm. And once he is, he's elite. And if he's not in rhythm because he gets taken out a couple plays here and there, it's going to affect him mentally. And I think that is huge. And with Jalen Hurts, I think that affected Wentz a little bit. Wentz is a good player. He just needs to
seemed
work.
A little bit fragile, doesn't he? If the fact that he didn't like that they went and took another quarterback, and it obviously affected him.
He's pushing.
Or did they not read him right? Did they just read him wrong? You know, like some guys, you can do that. Like what they did with Jordan Love to fire Aaron Rodgers up. I've always said, well, if that's what you have to do to fire Aaron Rodgers up, well, that's bullshit because he's a professional enough that you shouldn't have to go and do that. But it did work. If that's what fired him up.
Going back to that, maybe Aaron Rodgers' family, his parents should adopt a kid, and then it would fire him up to actually talk to his family.
Yeah, there you go. So, and maybe the Eagles thought, well, we'll bring in a quarterback to fire Carson Wentz up a little bit, but they just read what type of person he is, and that's not the way that, you know, some guys you put your arm around, and some guys you punch him in the shoulder and say, get the fuck on with it. You know, there's the different dynamics of people in a club.
Yeah, and that could be it. And Wentz, he kind of seemed like that. He needs that positive helping attitude. Like, hey man, like you're our guy. Go out there and just be the best. And he hasn't
had a shitload of targets, has he, Tyler? Like, let's be fair. Like, mate, if you go and have a look at where Carson Wentz was halfway through the season as far as quarterbacks go, with what he was throwing to, mate, I had him on my team, mate. I started him every week, and he's still putting up 20-odd plus points every week at quarterback, at least. But that's fantasy's different from the reality of football, obviously. But mate, he's thrown to. Mate, he's had nothing. Ertz was gone, got out, missed parts of the season along the way. Who's the wide receiver that
Dallas Goedert, Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson.
Like he's thrown to Jalen Reagor time.
Yeah, their whole offensive line is shot.
Travis Fulgham.
Oh, and if you did not flip Travis Fulgham as he was like, you are not doing Dynasty right.
Yeah.
Like it was ridiculous. Right when I saw him getting second round value, I was all out. I'm like, you can have him. I just picked this guy up. Like I just literally picked this guy up 2 weeks ago. You can have him for a second.
Yep.
Yeah. And
that's a good swap.
With Wentz, though, you could see obviously he was pushing the ball. His throwing motion wasn't right because you could see he was doing too much. You could tell he was like, okay, I need to get this ball here. The team's depending on me. And it was that kind of mentality that kind of ruined him. Like he was trying to do too much. And that's why he gets hurt, is because he starts scrambling out of the pocket, gets hit hard, and takes these massive hits because he's trying to do everything he can for the team. And the team is just like, you got it. We just got this guy. He's actually our garbage man we have at left tackle. Good luck. I mean, you're not going to be able to run away from everybody. So, and that's kind of what it was. And we saw Jalen Hurts. He had the big game against Arizona, but we also saw Jalen Hurts do what Carson Wentz did, be like a 50% completion guy and throwing picks. And it's because that offensive line is absolutely trash. But yeah, I could see them going a Devonta Smith with their pick. And
yeah, they definitely need someone to help him out. Without a doubt.
And, I mean, you passed up on Justin Jefferson because you thought he couldn't play outside of the slot. Well, you made a mistake because Jefferson can play everywhere. And they overthought that pick. They went with a guy that they thought fit what they needed for their team. Well, you know what? Go out and just get the best playmaker available.
Mel Kiper's got Jalen Waddle.
That would be an awesome pick because you know what? You can get the ball out quick and allow this player to do what he can do in space. Because with an offensive line that you're going to probably be rebuilding.
Dude's fast.
Yeah. And if you can get a guy that you can get the ball to quickly because this offensive line isn't going to be good still, that's a plus for Wentz.
Yep. Mate, mate, if I was, another thing they could do is, I think Zach Ertz, his time's finished.
Oh yeah, he's done.
Or you could drop out of the 6th position, being the Eagles, and move down if someone was. I don't know why someone would want to come up actually, unless say Justin Fields was still on the board.
Oh yeah, well,
someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
You could drop down a couple of spots, maybe Trey Lance. Someone's after Trey Lance, and go and grab someone like Kyle Pitts.
See, I love Kyle Pitts, but if Pitts is going to be anything, he needs to go to a good system that he can actually get better playing time. Dallas Goedert, I like a lot. I think he's going to be a premium tight end. He's like, we all saw Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce came into the league late. He was older. He was hurt the first couple years and then boomed at like 26. Dallas Goedert, I could see the same thing. They're very similar players. Their play style is very similar. As long as they can actually get him out to catch the ball instead of staying in line to block, because they need another blocker. That's what we need to see out of Goddard. But I think he's in for a big year. Pitts, I love. I traded back in a league where I have Gesicki as my tight end. I traded back. Get me Kyle Pitts at 105, please. And it's not even tight end premium. That's how special this kid is. I was watching Kyle Trask tape, and all I saw was 84.
Me and AJ were talking about that before you came on. When I was looking at Trask, I'm just going, all I saw was Pitts.
Yes.
Pitts. And I'm trying to think of the wide receiver that
Tony.
Yeah. So I was watching him, and then all I saw was 84.
Yeah.
84. And I'm watching the reel for the receivers. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and that's the issue with Trask. That's the issue with Trask. Was he extremely accurate, or was just Pitts really good? And that's the thing is, Trask had a huge season at Florida,
48 touchdowns or something, wasn't it? Something ridiculous like that. Yeah,
and he had some good weapons, but not Trevor. Well, Trevor Lawrence didn't have his whole weapons either. Yeah. But like a guy like Fields had first-round talent at receiver all over the place and at tight end. And the running back was stable. But was it Fields or was it his weapons? Was it Trask? Was it Kyle Pitts? Kyle Pitts is the real deal. And if you have the ability to get him, he is going to be one of those. I think when we were deciding between Hawkinson and Fant, they were two different type of players.
Right.
Dwayne Haskins, isn't it? Dwayne Haskins. Was it him or was it his receivers? Well, we worked out.
Yeah. But with Pitts is Hawkinson and Fant combined. Like he is their play styles combined, and it's going to be fun to watch him grow as a tight end. We all know tight ends take a couple years to progress. You know what? I think Pitts is going to come in right away and be a difference maker.
Okay, so mate, we're over the hour. So before you go, give us how many? Give us two of your best buys and two of your best sells before you go. Any position?
Let me go kind of with where I've been going in my leagues and my buys. My buys have been Tua. I've been trying to go out and get Tua, and another buy I've been doing is DeAndre Swift. I'm all about Swift, even buying high.
I was going to say it's expensive.
But is it expensive right now with the Dan Campbell stuff and the hiring of the coordinators? I think it's starting to fall because people are starting to get worried about Detroit with Stafford leaving. Swift is going to get an uptick no matter what. The guy is going to get more touches. He's going to get more playing time than he did. I think Swift needs to land in the 15 to 18 carries, probably 6 to 7 targets. And that is my happy spot for him. Swift is one of my favorite players in the league. He was my rookie 101 for running backs last year when people were kind of changing off him because he landed at Detroit. He was the dude I absolutely stayed on, and I said, I can't move off him. The talent is just too real. Swift is a buy, and especially with this rookie class coming, if you can trade a guy like, I know people are all about him, Najee Harris, for Swift, I would do it. If you can trade Travis Etienne for DeAndre Swift, do it. If you can trade these guys for running back, go out and do it. And Swift is my buy out of these rookies, because a lot of these rookies are just overpriced now because they showed well at the end of the year.
Yep.
But Swift is the one I'm still looking to go out and get. And despite you probably have to pay a little bit, I paid up for him right before he even broke out. I gave 2 firsts for Swift.
I was going to ask you, as far as not just player for player, but if you were giving away draft picks, because people love having draft picks, don't they, mate?
They
love it, because the best part of doing any type of fantasy is the rookie draft or a startup draft, because half the people that you're playing with you don't hear for the rest of the fucking season, because they just go into a shell, and the only time they come out is when the rookie draft comes around. So they want picks.
Yes.
So
no, I know people like that. I know a lot of people like that, and it's fun.
We got heaps of our leagues like that.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and actually, you can work that to your advantage, because guys like Swift can become available, and guys, those rookies that they had last year that they produced, but now they're not the new shiny toy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In their eyes, they lose value. So, in case of like a fair trade to me, rookie picks way is in a non-superflex league. 101 for Swift, I think could get it done, because Najee Harris or Jamar Chase is the 101 in non-superflex. So if you want to do that, I would love it, because we don't know what Najee can do, but we have seen what Swift can do. And Swift is actually a really good 5-to-go runner. Like, we saw him at goal line carries get it done, and that's what we wanted to see too. With his size, we wanted to see if he could do everything. Yeah, he can do everything. And you got to remember, Adrian Peterson was there, and usually if Adrian Peterson is on a team, usually the young running back behind him does well. Like, if we're going to go kind of theories here, that's what happens. I mean, Antonio Gibson in the same year learned a lot from AP, and he boomed. Now it's Swift's turn to really blow up, and it's going to happen.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
So your two biggest sells before we let you go.
2 biggest sells.
Snow behind you. Is that?
My 2 biggest sells would have to be, I'll go Mike. I don't know if I can go Michael Thomas, because his value kind of dropped, but I'd go Devontae Adams because of the age, and I'd probably go Lamar Jackson.
Ooh.
I get you another 1,000 yards, but man, you can start seeing him getting a little banged up because he's trying to push it too much with his legs, and
trying to flog him to AJ too for a long time.
Yeah, you have to.
Bloody hell.
And no, I'm going to give you both sides. This is my for a quarterback. I have a thing for quarterbacks that have big arms, tall in the pocket, and they have the running ability if they want. Like Josh Allen, Justin Herbert are my styles of quarterback, and they're the quarterbacks I would like on my team. And guys that run too much are great. I mean, it's like having 2 positions. I mean, you had a running back 2 and a quarterback 1 the same week. So you have an extra position pretty much. I do think they get another weapon. They have to. I mean, we all saw Marquise Brown. He's not the wide receiver 1. He'd be a great 2, but he's not it. Mark Andrews wasn't healthy at some points of the season. I think he'll be fine. Mark Andrews is a stud. I think they're going to use him a lot more once he's in his 3rd year. They get Rodney Stanley back. So there's a positives. I mean, he's going to get some people back. He's going to be fine. He's going to be quarterback 1 no matter what, because of that running ability. My issue is the longevity, and he's going to get his contract. I do think they re-sign him. They have to, because Allen's going to get his. Lamar's got to get his. I don't know the hits he's taking, and there's points when I see him running, and I'm like, this dude doesn't take massive hits because he's so agile. He moves away from it before it actually happens. But the struggle with me is he's not sliding as much as I'd like to see.
Mm.
And if he learns that, awesome. Like Russell Wilson took hits early on in his career, and we're all like, he needs to learn the slide. Well, you know what? Russell Wilson learned the slide all the time, and he's great at it. He's one of the best. Same with Kyler. That's why I like Kyler, because Kyler knows to slide because he's got a baseball background and he knows, okay, I know how to slide. Yeah. Lamar will learn, hopefully, but Lamar, his value is so high, and we all saw him drop from quarterback 1 to quarterback 2, or to low end quarterback 1, and I think his ranges are like quarterback 5 to 8, and it's all because of the running ability. If he becomes better at passing, that's great, but I think he actually took a downward spiral this year as a thrower. And that was my issue.
My case, mate, trying to flog him off to AJ. You saying that?
AJ, if you need a quarterback, Lamar is a great quarterback. I mean, a lot of people would legit think he's a buy. I mean, a lot of people
give him whatever he wants for Lamar Jackson.
I mean, a lot of people would think he's a buy. And that's the thing. Like everybody else would probably say Lamar had a bad season, go out and buy him because people are going to look at it and say he's hurt and everything. I've just never been on Lamar Jackson because, like I said, I have a style, and I'd rather go out and get Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. I'd rather go out and get those guys, even go out and get a Justin Fields for cheaper, or Trevor Lawrence for around the same value. But Lamar, yeah, he could be a buy because of the aspect of the season he had compared to last season, his MVP year, and people thinking
and up.
Yeah. And I think they need to draft a guard because they miss Marshawn Yanda. I think they miss him. I think Stanley is one of the best tackles in the league, and he was out early on in the season. Orlando Brown was hurt throughout the year sometimes, but if they get that offensive line back, I mean, Lamar's going to be just fine.
Mel Kiper's got Terrace Marshall Jr., wide receiver out of LSU, going there. I don't like that because every time the more receivers I look at, he's the guy that when I start looking at receivers, I look at him, put him at the top. Next guy goes underneath or on top of the guy that I liked, and he just keeps slipping down my pile.
Yeah. The positive part about Marshall is he's a very high recruit, and he's super young. He's not even 21 yet, so he's got room to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Speed. I don't think you can get any faster than you are. I think you're born with that. But anyway. Mate, that's been awesome. That's been great, except you screwed me at the end there with the Lamar Jackson trade to AJ.
I mean, you got three other quarterbacks you can trade off. Josh Allen had an MVP year. What better time to trade Josh Allen than an MVP season?
He's staying. I'm happy to get rid of Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, or Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, I like Kyler, and now I do have a worry with him, but I think I should keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, just
my only worry with him is like the dude never smiles.
But you said his name, and then you said worry in the same sentence, and you've already screwed me on that trade too.
Well, no, he never smiles. He never seems like he's like absolutely like even Aaron Rodgers smiles during the game, and Aaron Rodgers has no feelings.
Yeah,
like Kyler doesn't smile. He's all business. I think he just needs to lighten up.
That's how you stay young, man. That's how you stay young. I don't smile, and that's why I don't have crow's feet, mate. Because if you don't have facial expressions, you don't age.
But the thing is with Murray is he's small, yes, and he's got this baseball background, and he's very good at baseball. I don't think it'll happen because he's actually succeeding in the NFL. Yes. Yeah. But if there's for any reason he falls off, I think he goes to baseball. That's my only worry is if he starts falling off.
He's going to get a second contract. It's going to be big, mate. If he has another good season, that he's pretty much.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I think Kyler is phenomenal. I think he's a great talent. I don't think he takes massive hits unless the defense kind of targets him a little bit. Like for me, with him,
that one big one, man. I'll worry about that. He had one big one in one decent one in college. I think it might have been in the second half of his last year there. And man, he didn't get up. He didn't
Yeah,
get up
he's
on, you
he's
know.
a very small
Yeah.
man. But like I said, the
He's
best part about him,
told, so
the best part about him is he's got a rocket of an arm and it's accurate as can be, and he knows how to slide. He doesn't take big hits when he runs because he runs out of bounds, or he slides, and he's very good at sliding because you know what? When he slides, he gangs an extra 3 yards because he's that good at sliding. Like that baseball background helps him a ton.
yeah.
And I think the arm will heal up just fine. I think that was a big part of his late season kind of fall from grace.
Yep.
He's gonna be fine. I do think they get another weapon for him because, I mean, the DeAndre Hopkins isn't. He's got to have more. Like you got to have more than just Hopkins. And Christian Kirk is.
When you're pumping deep balls and jump balls to Christian Kirk with his little T-Rex freaking arms because they're not.
Yeah.
You're just not running your offense very well. If he's your deep field guy, you know, it's just I think.
Yeah. Why don't you bring Will Fuller back with Hopkins? Let them two reunite and let Kirk go in the slot. Let Larry Fitzgerald play the fourth receiver role, kind of the mentor, and kind of take away his playing time. I love Fitzgerald. He's from up here in Minnesota, but man, like we talked about with Alex Smith, like just kind of be more of a coach than being on the field because they need explosiveness for this team, and Cliff's offense needs explosiveness. And if you have Will Fuller, Christian Kirk, and DeAndre Hopkins as a receiver, Kyler Murray's going to find him.
And he's going to keep that job too, Cliff, because that house he's living in must be costing him a goddamn fortune.
Well, he's not going to be able to sell it in this market.
Mate, the rent price on that, mate, like we spoke about, we were just waiting for the girls to start walking in from the side of the screen. Just that was one serious bats pad.
Yeah, for a second there, I thought him and McShay were just roommates. I thought they just had the same house, but no, apparently not. They're two of the same houses in different areas. So, yeah, I just thought they were just like, oh, you stay in this room, I'll be in this room.
And then you go to the guy that's won like 6 Super Bowls or whatever, and you go to his, and he's got this little tiny kitchen with a dog sitting there making the picks for him. just out of control.
Yeah, with furniture that was made in like the 40s.
Yeah, yeah. But the winner was Jerry, mate, off the yacht.
The yacht
on the
that's flexing. That is major flexing right there.
It's beautiful. I had to look it up. It's huge. Good on you, man. Bloody,
it is.
Big fan. Of
yeah,
Jerry.
take that money and sign Dak. How about that's a good idea?
That would be excellent idea. Tyler, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, great to get you on.
It's been fantastic having you on, and it's been too long. We'll have to get you on again sometime.
Disappointed
soon
with a Vikings top and not a Falcons one. Okay.
I've got the same one in the Falcons, but yeah, I mean, you got to rep both.
Of course.
Yeah, but you're on with me.
Yeah.
Could have been
that's why I did it.
Yeah, did it? Oh, you did.
I like to diversify my shares.
Perfect.
There you go. And of course, catch Tyler on the Dynasty Happy Hour if you're not already, but probably all of our listeners are. But it's been fantastic having you on, and go do the GameStop
GameSpot.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
GameStop.
Stop.
Is it?
Yeah, this is the time. This is the time when you can win big, can't you? So go do it. Go buy, go sell.
I don't do that. I would lose too much money. I trade too much in Dynasty. I fear that if I went into trading in stocks and in money, there's no coming out of that.
Oh, no. Exactly. And I've got a clue what on earth it's all about. At all.
No,
just nod your head and agree.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Exactly. But we better let you go. The sun is streaming through the windows there. It's the opposite here. We're flagging a little bit, if anything. Yeah. So
I'm going to be up in 5 hours ago for a ride.
So we will let you go. But thank you so much, Tyler.
Yeah,
and
great,
people
mate.
can follow you at. I can see it on the screen. But if you're listening to this at DHH_Tyler. And obviously the Dynasty Happy Hour is the podcast to listen to and subscribe. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's
Thanks,
always
buddy.
fun.
Yeah, we won't make it as long next time.
Yeah.
I mean, not the pod as long. I mean the gap in between talking to you as long.
Oh no. It was fun. It was fine. The longer podcasts just mean there's more information to be had.
Exactly. All given by you because ours is not that good.
Well, you're guest. We were just yes.
Exactly.
Well, in Australia, you guys are like #1 in Dynasty fantasy football advice from Chargers and Falcons fans.
Well, that's what we tell people.
That's what we tell.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make it super specific. Like, hey, we're #1 in the category of people who talk about fantasy football and has a Pat Mahomes jersey signed in their studio.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably got about 5 teams, mate. He just covers his bases depending on who's having the better year.
Oh, absolutely.
We find here with AJ.
Yeah. That's right. Okay.
All right,
We'll
buddy.
let you go, and thanks you
again,
so much, and take care.
Yeah, you guys too. See ya.
All right.
See you, buddy.
See you later. Well, that was fantastic, G, and we're going to put a cap in this real quick because it's late. So thank you, everybody. Sorry we kept you if you were tuning in at the earlier time slot. Sorry about that. But anyway, thank you so much. And thank you to Tyler once again. That was fantastic having him on.
Great guy.
But yeah, on behalf of G and myself and Tyler, of course, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you next time.
I'm out of here.